Hey everyone, today I want to talk about some other components. For example, I want to talk about the transform animation component and also the HUD and events-based components. So as you can see, I have done the Anahita's quest and I have these rainy clouds in here, and all the dry parts of the land became green, and I have this moving swan in the lake. And if you look at the text above, the text says that find Foxy and do what she wants. And as the swan said, the Foxy is standing at the corner of the land. So here I can go and talk with the Foxy. And after talking with the Foxy, as you can see, the Foxy give me 1 minute to walk around the land and check everything and hold the land carefully. Alright, let's look at the land. I have this moving swan in here that's moving from left to right in the lake. I have a mouse in here. As you can see, a mouse. Let me show you. This mouse is moving in the corner of the land. I have this mouse in here. I have a shark that is swimming in the river from the left to right, right to left. And also, let me go in here. Let me go in the corner of the land and look at the sky. If I look at the sky, you can see I have some birds flying, and all of these animations are created by the transform component. And also in previous examples, in previous games, we had some doors that when we clicked on them, they start to open and close. Again, we created the opening and closing animations of the doors with the transform components. And also look at that, look at the text above. We have the find Foxy do what she wants. This text direct the player to know what the player should do. And this is the HUD text, or we can say heads up display text. And I will show you how to create your own transform animation for your object, and also I will show you how to create your own HUD text, and that text changes depends on your needs. For example, if I talk with the Foxy again, because 1 minute it's over now and I can talk with that. If I talk with the Foxy, she start to change to the humanoid version of her. And if I talk to her, as you can see, the heads up display text will change. For example, if I accept the mission of the Foxy, the text changed to answer 3 Foxy's questions correct. And the Foxy says there are some rectangles in some lands. That means I can click on those lands, and after clicking, some questions will be asked from me, and I should answer 3 of them correct. And each time I answer wrong, my health start to decrease. So I should be careful about that. If you want to play this game, check its dialogues carefully, because this game is very dependent on the dialogues and the story. So these questions are for knowing that you have checked all the dialogues very well. So let me click on one of these lands. For example, if I clicked on this land, as you can see, I have a question in here. Why didn't Anahita help you with the land back the river? And just one of these questions is one of these answers is correct. And if I don't answer this question and again clicked on this land, as you can see, the question is changed. Type the kind of Anahita's bird with the lowercase words, and I should type that, and clicked on the confirm. And the question is changed because I have defined several questions for each land, that each time I clicked on that land, one of the questions is selected by random. And I have done this by using the randomize events in the events components. And I want to talk about all of them. And also in the events list, we have events merger component and event splitter component that are very handy to manage your events in the game. So let's go on to talk about all of them, and also to show them in the previous example game that we have created. And let's go on. Now I want to describe the transform in the animation list, and for doing that I need an object in the scene. So let's click on this boat to have it in the scene, and let's select that, and let's scale it down a little bit. Now let's rotate this boat because I want to put it in the river. And after selecting that, I want to put it in the river, and let's put it a little bit up. Now I want my boat to be animated so that it moves along the river, and for doing this I need a transform component. Whenever you want to animate your position, scale, and also rotation, you should add transform to your object. And because I want my boat to move along the river, actually I need to animate the position of my boat. So I need a transform component. So let's go to the add component, and from the animation list, let's add a transform. And let's open the parameters of the transform. And as you can see, enable, event to enable, and disable is the same like the other components. Wrap mode, I will talk about it later. Autoplay, if you want your user to, as soon as your user get inside your land, you have the animation, you can enable the autoplay. But if you want to define an event so that after receiving that event, your animation start to take place, you can define that event in here instead of using the autoplay. But because in this example, I want my boat to be animated as soon as I get inside my land, I will enable the autoplay. Also, I need to define some animation key, and for doing this, I will click on add new transform key in here, and after clicking that, I will have key 1 in there. And if I click on the key 1 tab, you can see the parameters of the key 1. Alright. And I want to start my work in the key 1 with the with this transform data in here, the position, rotation, and scale that you can animate them. For example, I want my boat to move along the river in this side, so I need to animate the position. So I should change the parameter of the position, and let's change the parameter of the Z axis. And if I change the parameter of that, you can see a black line here that shows the start and the end point of the animation. This black line shows my boat will go from here to here when I click on the preview. So let me show you that. If I click on the preview to see the key 1 animation, you can see your boat start to move. And the speed of the boat is too much. For controlling the speed of your animation, when you give transform to that, you can control the speed of a key by changing the parameter of the time. At the moment it's 2, but I want to decrease the amount of the speed, so I need it takes more so that my boat goes from this point to this point, so I need more time. For example, I set it to 5, and now if I click on the preview, you can see the boat will go from the start point to the end point with less speed. All right. And also I can control the factor of speed by changing the time to speed. But I always recommend you to use the time, because in time you can how much it takes place that your object goes from one place to the other place. So always use the time, and this is more handy and more better rather than using the speed. Also, you can set some delay for your animation in the start. That means if I, for example, set it to 2, my boat stops in here to 2 seconds, and after 2 seconds it starts to move. Let me click on the preview. As you can see, the boat doesn't move until it reaches to 2 seconds, and after 2 seconds it starts to move. Alright, that's how delay works, but I don't want any delay for my animation at the moment. And what are these which to talk about? Alright, I have 2 fields in here, unstart playing event and unfinished playing event. Actually, I have 2 points in my animation key. One is the starting point of the key, and the other part is the end point of the key. If you want, as soon as your animation in your key start to take place and a special event is sent to the land, you should define it in here. And if you want a special event to send to the land as soon as your animation is finished, or in other words, your animation key is finished, you can define it in here. For example, if I want to send an event as soon as the boat reaches to this point, I can define in here. Alright, at the moment I don't need, so I will leave them blank. And let's exit the key 1 and back in here. I have a preview full transform in here. That's there's a difference between this preview and this preview in the key 1. Actually, this preview is related just to this key, but your animation may consist of several animation keys. For example, this boat goes in here, rotates, and comes in here. And in that case, your animation, it consists of 3 keys. And the previews inside the key just shows the animation of that key. But if you clicked on the preview full transform, it starts to show you the full animation. So let's click on the full transform in here. At the moment, there is no difference between this full transform and the preview in the key 1. And now I want to describe the wrap mode. If you look at that, the wrap mode is once. That means your animation takes place once. If the boat reaches from the start point to the end point of your total animation, it stops and you will have no animation again in this transform. All right. If you want to have a loop animation, you can change it to the loop. That means if the boat reaches from this point to this point, again, the animation will start from this point and it goes on and it never ends. So let's check that. If I clicked on the preview, if the boat reaches in here, again, it will start from here. And this is how the loop works. All right. Now, let me change that. Okay, let me exit the preview. And the other thing we have is ping pong. When you select the ping pong, if your animation, if the boat in this example goes from this point to this point, the animation takes place reverse again. That means the boat will go reverse in this path until it reaches to the starting point. And after reaching to the starting point, the animation stops. So ping pong takes place once. So let me show you that. Let me click on the preview. It goes to the end point, and after reaching to the end point, it starts to animate reverse until it reaches to the first point, and after that the animation stops. And if I want to have the ping pong without any ending, it goes in here, reverse back in here, again goes in here, reverse back in here, and so on. You should change it to clamp forever. So let me show you. If I click on the preview, you can see the boat goes in here. The animation takes place reverse, back in the starting point. Again, it takes place, and you will have no ending for clamp forever, and the ping pong will happen forever. All right. This was the wrap mode, and I think for my example, the wrap mode is the best choice for this boat, because I want my boat to always move along the river, and I think this is a good example. And I exit my builder to show you the result in the scene. But I also should remove this shark, because this shark. Let me deactivate the shark. And all right, now let me save and exit to check the result. Now, as you can see, as soon as I get inside my land, the animation starts to work, and the boat is moving along the river. And okay, back to the builder to have more description over the other parameters of the transform. Okay, now I want to talk about the other parameters of the transform. So let's open the transform in here, and also let's go to the key 1 to see its parameter. And the other thing I want to talk about is the isType. Actually, isType controls how the animation starts or ends. At the moment, it's in linear. So the animation in all the path is uniform. So let me show you the example. If I click on the preview, you can see a uniform animation in all the paths. And that's how linear works. But let me click on that to see all the form that you can select between them. And we have a lot of parameters in here that some of them start with the in. that the ones that start with the in controls the form of the animation of the start of the animation, and the one start with the out controls the animation at the end of the animation, and the ones which have in and out in the first letters controls the animation at the start and also at the end of the path. So let me show you an example. If I change it to inbounds and clicked on the preview, you can see my boat will have a bounce at the start of the animation, and after bouncing it will go to the end. So let's click on the preview. You can see I have a bounce at the start and it will go to the end. Now let me show you out bounce instead. In this time the boat goes towards the out, and in the out part and the end part we have a bounce in here. So let me show you. The boat goes towards the end, and after that it will have bounce. And if I select in out bounce, we will have bounce at the start point, and the boat goes to the end, and again in the end we will have the bounce. So let's click on the preview to check that. Alright, that's fine. And that's how is-type works. And for me at the moment linear is the best choice. Alright. The other thing I want to show you is how to have several keys for your transform component. Let's imagine that I had river in this side too, and I wanted that my boat, when it gets near to the end point, it start to rotate and moves towards here. In that case, I need two more keys. One key for the rotation of the boat and the other key for moving the boat in this side. So let's do that. Let's imagine that I have a river in here and I want to create such that effect. So I will click on the add new transform key again to have another key in here. And in this key, I should control the rotation of the boat at this point. So the boat should rotate in the y-axis about 90 degrees. So I will rotate it about 90 degrees, and the time is 2 I think I should decrease the time because I want it to be rotated with more speed. So I will decrease that to 1, and I think it's alright at the moment. And let me click on the preview full transform till now. The boat goes to the end point, and after that it start to rotate. Alright, now after rotating I want the boat comes in this direction. So let's stop and let's click create another key. And in this key I should control the position of my boat again so that it comes to this direction. So I will change the X direction, and it will move toward in here, and I think it's okay. So this is the HU animation pad I have for this transform component, and the boat comes in here, start to rotate, and comes in here. Alright, now let's check it out. Let's click on the preview full transform. And as you can see, it works fine. Alright, and now that's how the boat will work. Alright. And one more thing in the transform is this choice that we have, this drop down. For example, transform type. At the moment it's add value. That means each number I add to the X, Y, Z for the position, rotation, and scale will add that value to the current X and Z or the current position of your object. But sometimes you want your object moves to a special location in your land. For example, you want your object moves to the location of 0, 0, 0 in your land. For example, after reaching in here and rotating, I want for the third key, my boat goes to the location of 0, 0, 0. In that case, instead of using the add value, I will change that to set value. And that after that I will set it to 0, 0, 0. In that case, as you can see, the boat will go to the 0, 0, 0 position of my land. And that's how the set value works. Alright, and I think the add value is alright. And also I don't want these keys because I just use this case for the example. And that's how the transform work. And I want to show you another example. I want to show you how to create a door effect. For example, you have a clickable door, so that if you clicked on that door, that start to open, and if you clicked on that again, it start to close. And for creating that, let me create a door object in the scene. Let me, for example, go to the Steam Mania package, and let's go to the doors, and let's add a door to the scene. Here I have a door, and let me change the rotation and look at that in this side. All right. At the moment, when I want to rotate my door, because the pivot is at the center of my door, the rotation will take place from the center. And that's not correct. So I need to change the place of the pivot to one of the corners, which is the place of the hinge. So I will go to the default components. I will change the handle position from the center to pivot. Or if you want to set it by your hand custom, you should select the custom and change the position of that according to what you want. So I select the pivot because we have chosen the right place for our pivots when we exported our package. So most of the time pivot works fine for your needs. And after that I need to transform. Actually, I need two transform. One transform is for opening the door and the other transform for closing the door. So let's go in here and in the animation, let's add a transform. And I call this transform open door. And let's add an animation key. And in the key, I want my door to rotate, I think, in the y-axis about 90 degrees. So let's check that. Let's rotate that in the y 90 degree. And let's click on the preview to see the effect. As you can see, the door start to open. All right. And also, I want this animation to take place once, because if the door start to rotate, I want the door to be in this situation. All right. Now I have the door open. And I want to create a click input so that if I clicked on the door will start to open. So let's go to input in here. Let's add a click input. And in the click input, when I clicked on the door, I want an event. For example, let's call it door open. And let's use the door open for the transformation of my object in the event to play. So when I clicked on the door, it will start to open. And after opening the door, also, I don't want door open to be clickable anymore because I have opened the door. So I shouldn't again click on the door so that it start to rotate it another 90 degree. So I should use the door open for the event to disable too. So let's use the door open in here. And also, I want another transformation to closing the door. So you shouldn't add another key. You should add another transformation. So keep in mind. So let's copy this. Let's paste that. And let's rename it to close door. And it is parameter. I should if I use 90 degree, instead I use negative 90 degree. So that it returns to its first place. All right. Now I need another event to make the door closed. I call that close door. And let's add another click. Let's add another click input. All right. So that in here, the door open starts to deactivate this click input, but door open should activate the other click input, which is for closing the door, and it is deactivated by default. All right. Now I need, when I clicked on this click input, another event for closing door. That's why I have used close door to be sent to the land, and this close door again start to disable this click input because I have closed the door. But instead, it should enable this click input because now the door is closed, and this click input should be activated again to make it open. and whenever it's open, it should be deactivate and make it active again to make it close. All right, now I have a door in here, so let me show you. Let me save the work and check that. Now here we have the door, and I want to test that. If I clicked on the door in here, as you can see, the door start to open. And if I clicked on that, this time it start to close. If I clicked on that, start to open and again close. And I think it's enough for the transform component, and I have said all the things you should know to create interesting things. And now it's time to go to HUD and see how we can control the HUD in our work, and also we will have a look on the event-based components. And for doing this, first of all, I should disable my game HUD so that I can create new HUD for you. So let's go to the builder, and also I will disable my first HUD at the moment. And now I want to show you how to have your own text at the heads-up display so that you can help your users playing your game or visiting your land. And for doing this, I have disabled my my main game display text so that I can add it in this current game I have created in the previous video. And for doing this, I need to define a display text so that if I entered my land and display text say me speak with Victoria, and after speaking with the Victoria, I want this text to be changed to find 3 butterflies. And for doing this, I have selected the Victoria, and I will go to the add components, and from the HUD, let's add display text. Whenever you want to add a text at the top of the screen so that you can help your users, you can add display text from HUD. So now I have a display text in here. For the first text, I want it to be speak with Victoria, and I want this text to be shown on the top of the screen as soon as I get inside my land. So I will make it enabled by default and without needing to define anything in here. So I will leave it as it is. And let's add another display text because I want when I speak with Victoria and accepting her mission, this text changes to something like find 3 butterflies. So let's add another display text. So let's go to the HUD and add another display text in here. And for the second display text, I write find 3 butterflies. All right, now this time I don't want to this to be enabled by default when I enter my land, so I will make it disable, and I need an event to make it enable, and that event is when I speak with Victoria and accepting her mission. And I know when I accept her mission, an event called Victoria Quest is sent to the land, and that is exactly the event I need so that this text to be shown. So I type in here Victoria Quest, and if you didn't the previous video, I have defined this event in the NPC dialog system, in the first dialog system in the graph. As you can see, when I accept the Victoria's mission, I have the Victoria Quest in here, and that's the event I need so that my second display text to be shown. Alright, now everything is fine, and I can test the work. So let's save that and test my work. Alright, now as you can see, I'm inside the land, and when I'm inside the land without to do anything, I have the text speak with Victoria in here. And let me go and speak with Victoria. And as you can see, when I speak with Victoria and accept her mission, this text changes. And now I should find 3 butterflies in here. So this is how you can use the HUD to create some display text on the top of the screen. And now let's go to show you some event-based components. For example, event merger and event splitter and event randomizer. Alright, for describing the event-based component, I have created 4 different objects in here: a bird, a fox, a mouse, and also a pillar. And as you can see, if I clicked on the bird, I have 2 components for the bird. One is activation with the event to enabled of bird, event to disabled of bird this, and also I have a click input for the bird, which when I clicked on that, an event called bird this is sent to the land. That means when I clicked on this bird, the bird start to deactivate. And also I have the same thing for the fox. As you can see, I have the fox this, and if I clicked on that, I will have the fox this event. That means when I click on the fox, it will start to deactivate. And again for the mouse, as you can see, mouse this, and click input of mouse this. All right, now I want to define a sound for them, so that when I clicked on each of them, and a special sound is played when they are deactivating, and this sound is same for all of them. In this case, I don't want to define 3 different sounds for each of them. I want to do my work with just one sound component. So in here, I will select this pillar because sound is not dependent to the object we are adding to. And let's go and add a sound. And as you can see, sound just can accept one event. But the event when I clicked on each of them is different. For example, when I clicked on this bird, I have the bird this event. When I clicked on the fox, I have the fox this event. And when I clicked on the mouse, I have my mouse this event. And they are not the same. For example, if I define the bird this in this place, when I clicked on the bird, I will have the sound. But when I clicked on the fox, and also when I clicked on the mouse, I won't have any sound. All right. In this case, I need another component. When you have different events, that these events do different works. For example, I have a bird this in here that deactivates the bird. I have a fox this event which deactivates the fox, and I have the mouse this which deactivates the mouse. And each of these events do different works. If I want this event to have one joint work, for example, I want this event to have and to play one similar sound. In this case, I should use another component called event merger. So let's go to the add component in here, and from the events, let's add an event merger to the pillar in here. And as you can see, event merger can combine each number I want events, and will have just one event as an output. So I want to define 3 events. One is the bird this. One is the bird this. The other one is the fox this. And the other one is the mouse this. All right. Now I want these 3 events to merge to create one unique event. I called it sound. Collect or animal sound. All right. Now I can define the animal sound to this sound event to play. And also let's change the sound in here. Let's use the category of collect, for example, and let's select the 14. All right. Now I have merged these 3 events to create one unique event, and I have used this event for the sound. All right. Now by doing this, bird this will deactivate and do its job to deactivate the bird. Fox this will do its job to deactivate the fox, and mouse this will do its job again to deactivate the mouse. But they will do a same and joint work called animal sound too, which animal sound will play a sound. So let's test that in the scene. Alright, here I'm in the scene, and let's click on each of them. As you can see, if I clicked on that, the bird started deactivate, and also I had the sound. If I clicked on the fox, I have the sound too, and the fox is deactivate too. And if I clicked on the mouse, I have again the same results. And that's how the event merger works. So let's back to the builder. Now this time I want to show you how event randomizer will work. For example, I want to make this pillar clickable. So let's clickable this pillar. Input, click input. And I want, for example, let's type random active. This time I want, when I clicked on this pillar, one of these animals randomly be activated. So for example, I will make them deactive by default, and as you can see, the event to enable of this mouse is mouse, so I will keep in mind. And also I will deactivate the fox, and the event to enable this fox is fox, and also this bird, event to enable this bird is bird. So I will deactivate again, and this time I want, when I clicked on this pillar, this pillar will activate one of these animal by random. So in this case I will go to the add component, and from the events I will add an event randomizer to my component list. So whenever you want to create a random effect, you can do the event randomizer, you can use the event randomizer component. So in the event randomizer, I need to call an event. For example, if I clicked on that, clicked on this pillar, I have the random active. So I want random active to call event randomizer. So I called it random active. And also I need to define the events that I want randomly to be called. And in here I had the bird, I had the fox, and also I had the mouse. All right, that's fine. And I want I can define in here how much of them randomly be selected, and I want between these three just one be randomly selected. So I will define I will set it on 1, and let's save my work to see the result. Alright, now I'm in the land and I want to click on this pillar. Let's click on that. If I click on that, as you can see, the fox is selected randomly and now is active in the scene. Let's make it deactive again, and let's click on the pillar again. This time I have the mouse. Let's deactivate again. Again I have the mouse. Again I have the mouse. The mouse is so lucky. I have the fox. And that's how the randomizer will work. Okay, back to the builder again to describe another thing. For the final part of the video, I want to introduce the event splitter, which is the opposite part of the event merger. That means when I have a special event that I want that event to do its special job, also I want that event to divide it to several events which do different jobs. In that case, I use event splitter. It's not hard as I described. So let me show you an example in here. Here I have activated all my 3 animals in there, and now I want to duplicate this pillar because I want to use this pillar. When I clicked on this pillar, all these 3 animals start to deactivate, and also a special sound and effect is played. So for doing this, I want the click input in here. I don't want the event merger in here. I want a sound in here. I don't want even randomizer for this one, and also I want an effect. So let's go to the effect and add a VFX effect, and again I want to use the star. So let's add the star in there. Okay, and let's use the start explosion and change the place. All right, I think it's more better, the place of that. Okay, now when I clicked on this pillar, I want on click events of, for example, split test is sent to the land, And I want an event splitter because I want this split test do its special job, which is playing a sound. So I will use the split test in here, and also for the VFX effect. And in addition to its special job, I want this split test to deactivate all these three animals. And I know the activation of these three animals needs three different events: bird this, fox this, and mouse this. So let's select select that, and let's add an event. Let's go to the effect. Let's go to the event, and let's add an event splitter to that. And I want to call the split test. And instead, I want the split test also to be divided to bird this, and also fox this, and also mouse this. All right, now let's check the work. Let's save that and check it. Now let's test that. If I clicked on that, I have the effect and also the sound, and also all the three ones start to deactivate. And that's how event splitter will work. And I hope this tutorial was useful for you guys. Have a good time. Good luck.